My name is Marco Cabrera, born and raised in Guatemala. I would live there for 18 years, born and raised over there. At the age of 18, I had the pleasure of going to the US, all with the one purpose, to further get a college education over there. So I live over there for 1 year trying to figure it out. Long story short, I live and study over there for 7 years. Wow. After 7 years, I was in Michigan, and then I was looking for a place where you can really start life, a place where you can really buy a house, get a car, like have a good. I guess the word here is have a lekker life,
good
a proper
quality of life. Yeah.
Exactly, good quality of life, and that's when I came across on. It was January 2024. I came across an article that said Cape Town is the new American dream.
Interesting.
Interesting, right? Because I came during Peter Maris. The first time I came to South Africa, it was during the Cabrera riots. That was the first time. But that's a story for later, right? I guess. Yeah. But then I started investigating, and not doing investigating, but just seeing the quality of life that South Africa offers. Then I understood the Western Cape, there's the Free State, the Eastern Cape, Keseren, Gauteng, and all these places. And then I started realizing that there's still an opportunity to build a good life in South Africa.
It's super interesting that you say that the article said Cape Town's the new America, because. So I'm not originally from Cape Town. I'm from up north Limpopo.
Okay, Limpopo area, beautiful.
And I've been throughout all of South Africa in my time. Like I studied in Pretoria, lived in Joburg for a year, moved here and whatnot. And I always think that like the South African government doesn't do entrepreneurship many favors. And the whole American dream is entrepreneurship. It's how does that graph go up and to the right?
Yes.
And I find it extremely interesting that Cape Town is viewed as like the new America, even though all the money is in Joburg. Yeah. But I guess what is true is like the quality of life, cost of living, all of that's super affordable and stuff. But I do wish that the South African government could do more for the people.
Absolutely.
In terms of allowing them to have the freedom to actually build up
100%.
A business and stuff.
100%. I think with the government, and I paid a lot of attention. We had a couple of conversations regarding the DA and the ANC, everything that has happened, and I think that one of the reasons why there's such a big entrepreneurial spirit is because the government keeps putting small businesses down. Or even when, let's say that there's an Afrikaners or there's an English person, someone that is white, in other words, they cannot really get a C-level executive job or a manager type of a job in most cases because of the job regulations.
In the public sector.
Exactly, right? So if you really want to provide for your family and really like give them a better quality of life than the one that you've given, the one that you've had before, then you're pushed a lot, in a sense, by the system in order to have that entrepreneurial grind. And I've seen a lot of people, not youngsters like us, right? Like more seasonal entrepreneurs that they exited businesses, they done the seed Series A type of funding. And then the exact same line they say is the reason why I had to be an entrepreneur is because I couldn't find a job.
Yes, it's so crazy to me that like the unemployment rate for people in the early 20s or late 20s, mid 30s, like 62%, right? Yeah. And the other thing I realized and why it's almost conflictive, the ideas there, is South Africa loves socialist ideas.
Yes. Yeah.
They adore socialist ideas, and it's understandable to an extent when I think it's like 60% of the population comes from underprivileged backgrounds, still living in rural settlements. It's quite difficult to not have a socialist mindset because there's so many people that need to be provided for. But I do criticize the government in some places. My mom, when she came from Cuba, she doesn't like Cuba at all. She thinks it's been run terribly, but she said the one thing that Cuba did right was that Castro made education mandatory for everybody. And with that education, people were able to be informed, know what's going on in the world. And unfortunately, it led to a lot of people leaving the country because you're knowledgeable enough to know it's not a good situation for you.
Exactly.
But South Africa needs to invest way more into education.
Absolutely.
Because that's the only way you're going to get out of the socialist state or the socialist dream that's going to be done and actually empower people to go and change their own lives.
100%.
But that also comes with, there's so many scandals and I don't want to get this cancelled.
That's okay. We can get political, right? But we want it to be also good, you know? Okay.
But I think there's such a big issue with like the money that's being put into infrastructure and everything being embezzled. I mean, you've seen many cases. I don't know if you saw the news 2 years ago, but there was a traffic center in Potchefstroom that the budget was 2 million rand for. And at the end of the day, the whole center was just one shipping container with 2 computers in it. But the budget was 2 million rand.
Wow.
And that's taxpayer money
Wow.
in 2 million rand. So now, where is that money gone? You're not going to convince me the shipping container costs 2 million rand. You're not going to convince me those laptops that they have cost more than 200 rand.
Exactly, exactly, 100%.
So that's the big issue. Is like there's also no transparency.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know they make the budget public and whatnot, but government spending isn't tracked, and then they push everyone into the public sector where they can control things, and they need to start pushing things towards the private sector and empowering the private sector. And it's not too late, right? Like I think 10 years ago, or maybe 20 years ago, go back further in time, Ireland was viewed as a disaster. No one wanted to live in Ireland. It was so poor, the people had no opportunities. Yeah. And now it's turned itself into this, not a haven, but it's like become this business sanctuary. It has the second highest GDP in the world per capita. And that was through legislative change that allowed people to move their businesses there. And you know, I love South Africa. I think it's an incredible place. And I think if you give people business incentive to come here, they're going to come and also fall in love with it. And then more people are going to immigrate here and bring in more money.
100%.
And more people, or they have to make it better for other parts of South Africa as well. Because everyone can't move to Cape Town.
Yeah, everyone is the Western Cape, right? The Western Cape, the Western Cape, the Western Cape, yeah.
But like you have to make Joburg a more safe place so people go there. You have to make Pretoria a more desirable place to go to. And I've always said like the Northern Cape is the biggest province with the least amount of people in it.
Wow, yeah.
Because it's mainly desert, but like you look at Nevada, that's the same desert.
Yep.
Not Windhoek, but what's the Namibian city towards the coast? Kleinmond, I think, in the desert. So that people have built large settlements in the desert and prospered there. You know, Vegas is huge.
Yeah.
Why can't we do the same thing? You know.
You know, it's something very interesting. Like I come from a third world country. Yeah. Guatemala. Yeah. Like we have the same issues. I think the poorness. So when I come from a good family, but that does not mean that we did a lot of charity and social work, especially because on my father's side they're doctors and they give a lot to the community, and more on my mother's side they're farmers. So like for example, they build a school for the kids over there in the farms and that type of thing, right? To make sure that they are in school and the parents are not saying like carry this or something like that. It really broke my heart when I came to South Africa because the level of the standard of living for the poor communities is harsh. And I've been inside Mitchell's Plain, I've seen Khayelitsha, I've been to Pietermaritzburg, I've been to those places. And you know, it's like you nailed it, the infrastructure and that there's not transparency to the way that taxes are being used. That is one of the reasons why I think that South Africa has had also so many issues. Yeah. You know, also like given it also the good side, I think the Western Cape is an absolutely it has shown the potential what South Africa can do, and really in the African continent, right? If we really see the globalization and how the markets are moving, I live in the U.S. and I really was able to understand it over there. There's a problem in the US because if you don't have enough value in the marketplace, it's very hard for you to climb to keep climbing, right? It's very hard. In Latin America, it's very similar. Like the top players are gonna be the top players forever. There's gonna be 10, 12 families over there. That's like getting Africa still has, even with the Stellenbosch Mafia and all the things that have happened in the past, there's a chaos in the South African economy and just like in the way that we are living, and even in the sense of the racism, right? Because now you see like I do boxing, right? So I meet a lot of the guys from the top echelons and the lower echelons, right? And something they said to me, especially the guys living in Mitchell's Plain, Khayelitsha, and those type of places, those type of townships, right? They said that their whole lives they've been kind of like programmed to hate white people, and now they're seeing that now that is not the case, that they're not the end. So it's like super interesting also how the government and just stuff is playing around, if that makes sense. Yes. If that makes sense.
I think the racism one's a very interesting topic because I come from a town where racism is a very prevalent thing. You know, you have the very Afrikaans farmers, and then you have people that basically moved into the city from townships, like both ends of the spectrum. And I think you talk about you're kind of raised to hate the other side. I think that's very true. And I kind of explained it as, you know, if you think back, Apartheid ended now 32 years ago, right? That means the people that are now in the working class were raised with parents that were abused in apartheid.
Yes.
And what do you learn is like that trust still isn't there. And there has to be kind of more exposure to, these people are good people.
Yeah.
Giving people opportunity. How you do that, that's beyond me. I'm not a politician.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think that the very online space that the world has moved to has helped at all, because it used to be that if you had an opinion of someone or some group of people, you had to go into the world to experience it.
Absolutely.
Now, if you have an opinion of someone or some people, you go onto the internet, you will find people that agree with you. And you don't have to get exposure to maybe that's not the truth. And I think when COVID came, it maybe even put us back a few years, because now I'm having bad feelings towards a group. I'm going online and seeing everyone else is having bad feelings to a group. And all of a sudden, my thoughts become facts.
Exactly. Yep.
Hey guys, hope you enjoyed that clip from the interview of Augu. If you want to come onto the podcast, remember, all are welcome. Just fill in the form in the description and we'll see if we can have you on. If you want to watch the full podcast, click on the link here. If you want to watch anything else from the channel, click on the link here. Thanks for watching, guys.